Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it. Number one flaws, you don't know ball. We taking advantage of that. Got you Karens asking where the manager at. With no cap, no time for the amateur rap. Look, man, we got dogs all over the depth chart. Monsters on the roster. Straighten up that posture. Rooting out you imposters. Silver bullets in the chamber. And a D-line full of danger. Step back with that linebacker trigger, when he pull it, it'll bang ya. Running backs running down here, touchdown on your IG reel. Better check the stats, buddy, it's straight facts over how you feel. Whenever I speak, I'm giving you more balls than German Village, Short North, and High Street. And you know, the average Joe can do nothing with my flow. It's a waste, somebody please give his brother an I.O. Come on.
I told y'all before, I need to feel y'all's energy. Stop sitting on y'all hands and get this place lit. Like I said, bring the energy.
Yeah, you know what time it is. I'm brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. You know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the... Get off the screen. What's good, everybody? What is good? You know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Let's go. Listen, I'm on my full natty mode right now. I got my Flavor Flav clock size Ohio State, chain on. Got the my little favorite jersey. I've been waiting for them to break out the heritage joints. You know what I'm saying? I got the B Moses on the back. Let me show you the back real quick. Boom. Hold on. See that? Boom. Woo. Let's go. Let's go, man. How y'all feeling out there? How y'all feeling? I know I'm excited. We've been waiting. It's been a long 9 days. I mean, it's been dragging. Just podcast after podcast and goofy tweet after goofy tweet and bad take after bad take. I'm tired of it. Let's get it going. Funky is in Atlanta right now. What's going on down in the A, man? How you feeling, brother?
What's up, B Moses? Man, what a wild ride it's been so far this whole year, and all comes down to tomorrow night. Funky Bucks in Atlanta. Second time I've been in Atlanta in my life. First time Georgia game, 2022 or whatever the heck year that was. So I'm here on my own personal revenge tour, and the vibes are high, man. I mean, you could just feel it. Ohio State fans definitely are here, and they're making their presence known. A lot of positivity. People are so happy for these boys right now that it's almost, we're a little nervous, but at the same time, we're just so happy. We're just so excited for Trayvon and Will and all these boys and these seniors to have their one final ride for the Buckeyes. And man, hey, I'm nervous. I mean, everyone's nervous, but man, I do feel good about our chances. Because going into that Bama game, or in 2020, the Natty game, I was like, man, yeah, we're probably going to lose this game. I had very, very little confidence, especially with all those
13 guys missing because of COVID.
Yeah, exactly. We played with one set of rules, and the SEC played with a different set of rules, so not really fair. But whatever. The Oregon game, I was there, but I don't really remember it too much. Or I remember the game a lot, but I don't really. I wasn't on social media, so who even knows what was being said? I'm sure people were being negative though, and clearly wasn't. I was alive for 2006 and 2007, but not really. So this is like the first year where I'm going in the game with with a good amount of hope, and I really do think the Buckeyes are going to win this game, and I think it's going to take a lot for them not to. So as long as it's just not a weird game. Which, football can be a weird game sometimes. So, but as long as we play a nice, clean football game, then I don't see a path for Notre Dame to win this game.
Yeah, listen, we'll get right into it. I see the comments. What up, Ryan Daysbeard, Stilly Matt, Jim Jackson, all the usuals. Greatly appreciate y'all. Cookie Monster, another great one. Mark Swick, Sean, what's up, y'all? What's good, everybody? Sean Schrock. Glad to see y'all. We're going to get right into it, man. I see people are nervous. We should be nervous. This is the Natty game. You know what I'm saying? I've been watching Notre Dame like I do, like every team all week. I've been at nauseum watching, break it down, all that stuff. So I got my analytical, football, whatever type of perspective and whatnot. But I'm also just nervous because this like college football is crazy. And it's just like you just never know what to expect sometimes. But yeah, I think one thing before I really get into all the specifics of my breakdown of what I saw on tape from Notre Dame, I'll just say this. We all battle the same battle, right? In our fan minds, in our goofy little fan minds, where it's like, don't be too overconfident because you'll jinx it. Or, the superstitious mindset that we battle when we're dealing with our emotions about wanting to win a game so bad. And so you kind of go back and forth with that, man. And, is this going to be like the Michigan game again? And it's just all that stuff, man. But at the end of the day, even before I get into my analysis, I trust I've come to a place at this point where I just have trust in our coaches and our players. And yes, you can point back to the regular season and just say, hey, the coaches kind of lost our trust at some point, with that stuff they were doing. But in this playoff run, y'all, they've shown us in those 3 straight games that they've earned our trust for this game. So all the analytics, all the X's and O's, all the, jinxing and mental battle, to me, at the end of the day, what matters is what the players do on the field and what the coaches call. And so that's where the game's going to be won or lost, is right there. And so that's kind of where I'm resting at, what I'm saying, with my confidence, because you can drive yourself crazy as a fan trying to like rationalize and figure out and, get yourself settled. But that's just kind of where I land, man. Funky. I mean, before we even get into all that, does that make sense? Because it just seems like this 9 days has felt like 9 weeks, just with analysis by paralysis or whatever. It's been crazy, man. How you feeling?
I mean, every day pretty much since the Tennessee game has felt like a year, B. Moses. I feel like I've aged every single, because I feel like we've been getting on the pod and kind of like not saying the same stuff, but in the reality, it's kind of the same stuff. It's like, man, we could do this. Like, we have good coaches, and if they put together a good game plan, which they should, they're, some of the best coaches to ever, Chip Kelly is probably the greatest coach in Oregon history. Jim Knowles is clearly one of the best defensive coordinators in college football history. I would argue that, because everywhere he's gone, he's had monster success. And Ryan Day has, the second best winning percentage from a head coach since World War II. Shout out Justin Spiro for that stat. And so, but every week, every day has been, man, can they outcoach Dan Lanning? Man, can they outcoach Steve Sarkisian? And then now it's, man, can they outcoach Marcus Freeman? So, it's weird to say that I feel the most confident about the Natty game than I did any other game this whole entire playoffs, but it's the truth. I do, because I just don't. We're gonna have. Let's just say Notre Dame's not gonna have home field advantage in Atlanta. It's not. It won't even be close. So Chip Kelly's gonna be able to get into his bag and do whatever the heck he wants, bro. He'll be able to run his full offense with no hiccups. There's no wind. It's not going to be cold. It's going to be in a dome. And historically, Ryan Day has been great in a dome. I'm not saying we've won every game in the dome, but he's been great, and we've called great games. We played our best football, because I know we like talking about the cold and making fun of other teams for playing the cold, but if we're being real, I like Ryan Day playing in just a neutral site in a dome stadium way more than I do him playing out in the freezing cold. So I think the dome plays to our advantage for sure, because it just it minuses off the weird stuff that could happen a little bit, like whatever, the wind blowing the ball a certain way, or the ball being a little hard for the kicker, or for the grip of the quarterback, or whatever the heck could happen. So, I really, really do like our odds in this game. And man, the coaches have earned our trust, and everyone in Buckeye Nation should trust our coaches, even though we do all have a little bit of PTSD from what happened on that day. But man, they they deserve to be forgiven. And hopefully tomorrow goes our way, and I really do think it will go our way. Sorry, I got off topic, but yeah, I've been practicing the Humpty Hump a little bit, B Moses. So I'll hopefully my dance moves aren't good at all, not even okay. But man, I'm gonna give it my give it my
Make
best
it
shot.
better.
Yeah,
Make it better,
hey,
bro.
I'm trying my best, bro. It'll be a good effort. I can promise that it's gonna be a great effort, and it'll be good for a man of my stature. So
Yeah, man, I cannot wait for that. That's why, I mean, listen, forget everything else. Forget the trophy, forget bragging rights. We want Funky to do the Humpty. We want Funky to do the Humpty. All right. So listen, all right, so let me kind of get into it a little bit, man, because I see people, Jim Jackson, I saw your comment about
oh, I
the
will.
fear. Huh?
Sorry, no, I was responding to Steely. He said, "You promise, Funky, I will.
Oh, yeah, I see
I'll
that.
keep my word. I will. Absolutely."
Yeah, oh, he will. Yeah, he's down, like no question. He's a little more excited than I thought he would be. For real, low key. So, what up, Jim? My good brother, Jim Jackson. Listen, I feel you. I think that's a lot of people have that concern. Let me just address something. I'm going to give you my opinion and my thoughts real quick and kind of transition into the game, talking about the Texas game real quick. So, I don't subscribe to the thought or the thinking that we went back to a Michigan game plan against Texas. So, and this is why I say that. Number one, the first two games, both teams decided to play a good amount of man, if not primarily man, especially Tennessee. They got torched, obviously. They were goofy enough to try to play man against our receivers, and they paid for it dearly. Well, Texas, they were coming in as primarily a zone team anyway, so they didn't have to change their stripes or spots. They were who they were, but we all know they bracketed JJ. They did some things to take him away. Okay. So that's one thing. Okay. So when you have that, and this is not just for you, Jim, I know you know this, but this is just talking to the audience. We have to remember when you have a team that's playing a lot of zone and then they're bracketing your best receiver, they're going to make you work your way down the field. They're also going to, and even Will Howard said this before the game, and he still fell into the trap. It didn't kill us, but he fell into the trap. They try to bait you. They want you to force it to your guy, like we did after half in the first drive when we were starting to move the ball. We came out moving the ball, like 2 quick first downs, and we tried to force it to JJ when Abuka was open. They were ready for that. They game planned for that. They wanted that. So with the zone, you have to be patient and you have to really take what the defense gives you. Now, with that said, do I think there could have been more things we could have done to get JJ involved? Sure. Things closer to the line of scrimmage, some end around, some quicker passes to where he didn't, have to try to get stuck in that double and triple coverage. I'm not saying we couldn't have done anything better, but with what they were doing, we could not, one, play into their hands and force it. Two, we basically we couldn't have penalties. We couldn't be killing ourselves with the penalties that we killed ourselves with. To me, going back and watching the game, in my opinion, that is the number one thing that stuck out to me, because we consistently moved the ball, but we shot ourselves in the foot. It was like Joe Clapp, I think it was Joe Clapp or somebody, one of the analysts, I've done lost track. I done watched so many. They emphasized that there were 4 or 5 second and 20s that just absolutely murdered our drives. Now, Trey Henderson, he's seen to start a snowball of just goofiness with penalties. And listen, he got on the sideline, and like I said last week, he had a little meeting with the Lord on the sideline, and he got he got that corrected quickly and popped him with that screen pass. But the point is, in my opinion, if we played a cleaner game against Texas, I think that game is not as close. So from what I saw on film, and I'm not saying every single play call was just great or perfect. I'm not saying that. I'm saying overall, the issue more so was the penalties backing us up, keeping us behind the sticks, especially against a good defense who had a good front, a good defensive scheme to keep everything in front of them. We were killing ourselves with that. So I don't think that was going back to the Michigan game plan. I think that was just not playing clean and not executing. And when that happens, the momentum shifts and piles up and goes to the other team. But to kind of end this rant, I'll say this, and this is what I mean by trusting the coaches and the players for that matter, because the first 2 games were blowouts, not even a question. The Texas game in Texas, primarily a Texas crowd, had to do silent count, had to tap the center with the head, movement. It was loud when we were on offense. We still persevered. Another goal line stand, ho-hum, another goal line stand, like it's nothing. We fall out the bed in the morning and get a goal line stand. That's how good this defense is. We stepped up. We made plays when we needed to. Before that, we went down and scored. You feel me? This team has showed that not only will they blow you out if you want to play man coverage, but they'll step up against a really good elite team and take the victory. So that's why a big part of me is like, man, I'm nervous. But I'm going to trust this team because they earned it. Go ahead, Funk.
Yeah, the add-on, we tried to get J.J. Smith into the game a little early, but our wide receivers were just having a little trouble with blocking on their cornerbacks, too.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Ennis missed one early. That stuff just happens. Texas, they have NFL guys. You see all these guys declaring for the draft from Texas. They're going to have double-digit draft picks this year. So, that's a really great talented Texas roster, especially in the secondary. And they played one of their best games of the season versus us, which makes sense. It's the semifinals game in Dallas. Texas showed up, but that just shows how good the Buckeyes were, that were able to play a little sloppy, make some mistakes, make some big penalties, and still come out with I'm going to say decisive win, but that was anything but decisive, really. But that game gave me confidence because that showed that we could win in multiple ways, and we don't need everything going our way for us to win the game. Because when we played Oregon and Tennessee, it was like pretty much it felt euphoric. I was just sitting there, I'm like, touchdown, and all of a sudden I looked behind me and looked back, and J.J. Smith no one's within 20 yards of him. But Texas learned from Oregon, and their safety made a really great play on that deep. It was pretty much the same play that we ran against Oregon, a little less motion on it because of the crowd noise. But J.J. Smith had that one-on-one matchup with the safety, and he would have scored a touchdown if that safety from the right end didn't make a really great play and recover and block that throwing lane a little bit from Will. Because if that safety is not coming, then Will can kind of laser that in a little shallower, and J.J. walks into the end zone. But those Texas secondary, they played a damn good game, and it makes sense. They're NFL guys, so sometimes you just run up against a bunch of NFL guys, and I just don't see that from Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's going to have to play their best game of the year by far, because Dame hasn't seen at all as amount of talent as they are going to see versus Ohio State. This probably second, talent. When I mean talent, I mean offensive weapons. The second best offensive weapons, not including Ohio State, was probably USC.
Yeah, I would say so.
And USC threw for almost 400 yards, if my memory shoots me correct.
Let me pull up your schedule while you're talking. Go ahead.
They threw for almost 400 yards. It was 350 something high. And if the quarterback, by the way, the backup quarterback doesn't throw 2 pick sixes, then Notre Dame loses that game. So I know we've played bad at times, but I just feel like when we're playing bad, you can kind of wash that away because of what we've done the last 4 games versus 4 of the top 7 teams in the nation. Notre Dame kind of got lucky, and they kind of played the Penn States of the world and Georgia without their quarterback and Indiana at home. And that Indiana game was close too. That's what people – it was closer than what the scoreboard said. If Indiana scores, they got the ball on the 15-yard line. If they score there, they're in that game. But instead, they throw a pick on the 2-yard line, and then Notre Dame runs it for a 97-yard touchdown. And all of a sudden, it's wow, that's heartbreaking. But Notre Dame they had real trouble moving the ball. They really had to rely on the big play, the big runs, and with the running back injured. I know he's claiming he's all healthy and stuff, but I don't think so. I have a little birdie telling me that, man, Ohio State doesn't think he's going to be able to even make a jump cut. So I just don't. And they're on their third. They're legit on their third string left tackle. They're on their third string left tackle. Their right guard has a half of Achilles. Their left guard is banged up. Their centers, their starting center. The right tackles, their starting center. And Riley Leonard isn't a superstar. I'm not walking into this game being wow, their quarterback can beat us. Because sometimes when you play the Chiefs, man, no matter how good you're playing, sometimes just Patrick Mahomes can just beat you. Riley Leonard can't just beat you. He's going to take a lot of underneath routes, a lot of quarterback runs. And, man, I just trust our defense. I trust Cody. I trust Sonny. I trust our defensive line. I think JTT or Jack or whoever's lining up on that third string tackle is going to eat. But I know one thing I do know, B. Moses, and no one's going to like to hear this, is Notre Dame is going to play perfect football, and they're not going to get one holding call all game because they don't. Notre Dame doesn't hold. So just like every other team Ohio State faces, they're just perfect technique, don't hold. They just play great football.
Man, you don't even get me started on that, man. That's just insane. Even non-Buckeye analysts had to pull that out, like Joe Klatt and Josh Pate. They've even like scratched their head, like, how in the world is this, especially this front, not getting holding calls? I'm not even going to start a whole bunny trail about that. It is what it is. We're going to play through it. We're going to win. That's funny. Moses and the Buckeyes going to the problem. Let my people go. Nah, but yeah, so getting into what I think about this matchup a little bit, and just my thoughts from watching Notre Dame and just knowing what we do. And one thing I'll say about us, though, one thing that also gives me confidence is that all season, I have not seen us come out and have back-to-back clunkers, like basically do something very poorly and then the next game do the same thing again. We haven't done that. And so I'm saying that to say we're really going to hit, and we have been hitting on the whole penalty issue, but also, like Funky said, that was a road game. I mean, penalty, false starts and all that stuff is a little more challenging when you're on the road. I don't think this is going to be a road atmosphere like Funky said. That's one. Two, we're going to emphasize that and clean it up. Okay, so that's one thing. And then also watching what Texas did on film, I think, when a coach goes in and, okay, how did our best receiver get held in check? Let's fix this. You feel me? Now, Texas ran a zone. Now, let's get into this whole controversy about Notre Dame, right? You had their DB come out saying, we're going to do what we do. We're going to play man. That's what we do. And then earlier, I posted and matter of fact, let me go ahead. This is a good segue. Mike Green, what up, brother? You asked earlier what my socials were. Buckeye Sports Talk will be Moses. Is the name of the page on Facebook. Same on IG. Is TikTok back up? I don't know if that's back up right now. But B Moses on TikTok. And then Twitter at BMoses30 is my socials. But you said the podcast been talking crazy. Absolutely, they've been talking crazy. I mean, just absolutely stupid on several fronts. Just making terrible points. Trying to compare this team to last year's team. This Buckeye team is way better than last year's team. First of all, we've went up a notch on quarterback. We've leveled up on quarterback. I don't care what none of y'all say. Will Howard is better than Kyle McCord, especially for this team, number one. Also, number two, we played Notre Dame on the road last year, okay? That's another point. And that was the biggest game in their history, their own words, okay, at their place. Also, do not forget, Trey Henderson's ribs were cracked when he was cheap shotted. Y'all forgot about that, didn't y'all? He was cheap shotted in a pile in that game. Remember, he missed several games after that, but he still pushed through it in that game. Marvin Harrison's ankle was rolled up on that long touchdown run by Henderson. He was hobbled. Abuka was not fully healthy. You feel me? Like, you can't compare last year's game to this year's team or game. Please stop that. It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, also, to add on that real quick, just one comment. The offensive play calling that game, like, we could have had so many more points.
Yeah.
People forget about, or actually maybe not people forget, a lot of people probably remember the jet sweep to Ibuka and all this other BS that was happening. That's not going to happen this year because, that was the Ryan Day offense where he kind of got overwhelmed sometimes because he had to do 10,000 things at once. This time, Chip Kelly gets to do it, and it's at home. It's at home. So, and I don't want them to hear them even bring up 2021 where we beat them in our place because look, we're the second drive of the game. They injure our best player. Right. So next question. But yeah, you keep talking, B Moses. I just wanted to add that real quick.
No, that's good. That's good. And then here's a comment from Notre Dame Recruiting on Twitter, who's a known clown with his comments and takes. Okay, so he responded to Jay Book. Shout out to Jay Book. Jay Book said, I expect Ohio State to run a lot of motion and eye candy on Monday to really see if Notre Dame is in true man coverage. I agree, obviously. And they responded with, Notre Dame's going to run a ton of man coverage. We are not scared of you. We aren't going to become a zone-heavy team. Get over yourself. See you on Monday night. That's exactly how he talks, too. So anyway, So it's this. It's just so funny, man. I don't the bravado, the false bravado. Listen, somebody said in the comments, let's get into this with the whole run man stuff. So this is what I think is going to happen. Jay Book is correct. Obviously, just like we did against Oregon, against Tennessee, a ton of shifts, ton of motioning, ton of pre-snap eye candy. Absolutely. You will see that full go because we're going to try to make Al Golden show his hand before we snap the ball. That's, everyone knows that. But I think Marcus Freeman, they're going to run man, but this is what Notre Dame does. This is what I saw them doing when I was watching them. And this is what they rely on, I should say. So, and let me look at the numbers because they bring some pressure a decent amount of the time. So what they're going to do, they send 5 guys on 68% of their blitzes. So they may not all full out blitz a lot, but they do send 5 a lot. Okay, they'll bring that linebacker or they'll bring a corner. They'll bring 5. So what they'll do, they'll run man, and they're betting on their guys to get there, either to get home or to hurry the quarterback so that they can't get the ball to the receiver while they're in man coverage. So they're going to bank on that. They're number 1 in the country in turnovers. So they're going to say, hey, we're going to be who we are. We're going to make Will Howard uncomfortable. Also, they're going to disguise. They're going to try to disguise. Even with us, doing motioning and try to get them to show their hand, they're still going to do different things on the back end. They're going to, they're going to mix it up. Al Golden is a good coordinator. We know that it's going to be a chess match. So they're not just going to just play straight up man. They're going to do some things to try to disrupt Howard so that he can't even get the ball to our receivers. That's what they're thinking. I'm telling you, they're confident that their guys can get to the quarterback or disrupt enough so that he can't get his feet set and the route can't be completed to get the ball to JJ. That's what they're thinking. So they're going to run man, but they're going to mix it up. They're going to have some zone. They're going to mix it up. But that's what they're going to do. They're just not going to just run straight up man with nothing exotic going on because they're not stupid like somebody said. I'll take a little break. I got more, but I want you to jump in, Funk.
Will Howard, sorry, oh my God, I was coughing there for a bit. But Will Howard is second versus the blitz. I'm just hesitating there a little bit because I think it was Jackson Dart 1, Will Howard second, and I know he was first when they played cover 1, which is, for people that don't know, cover 1 is pretty much when you man up on the outside and you have 1 safety deep and maybe a Mike linebacker who's either on the blitz or dropping back a bit in his own coverage. Will Howard is number 1 versus man. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words right now, B-Moses, but
are you good?
Second versus the blitz, first versus cover 1. So, and those are the 2 biggest defenses, or the defenses Notre Dame likes running the most. So, and when you have talented players like the halfback swing to Henderson, if they're running man, you know what that means? That means if Henderson makes 1 guy miss, Gonzo, bye-bye. And Notre Dame hasn't seen anyone like him.
No.
This whole season. No one like JJ. No one even like Brandon Innes, for God's sakes. So, man, Notre Dame's have to play perfect football. That's what I'm saying. They're going to have to play perfect football because we know their offense isn't going to score a lot. The best bet I have for the game, just looking through the lines or whatever, is Notre Dame under, 18 points? Only 1 team has scored over 17 points versus Ohio State all year. And that was Oregon twice. And in one of those games, I don't even count because we're up 34-0. Exactly. Once you're up 34-0, white flag, throw it in. It's done. The game's over. So pretty much it's happened 1 time all year in the first game at Oregon. And that was really only because we let up like 6 explosive passing touchdowns or whatever the heck it was. That was a horrible game by Denzel Burke, and he clearly revenged himself. So, and Notre Dame they have a quarterback that's not as good as Dylan Gabriel. They have wide receivers that are not even in the same universe as Oregon, and their offensive line is worse by every metric than Oregon. So they're going to have real struggles scoring the ball. And man, it's just hard for me to think that they're going to have real stuff defensively. They're going to have to create a lot of turnovers. And I just don't see Will Howard having a horrible game. I don't see it. I just personally don't. I think he's been this might be a hot take. I mean, he's been the best college football quarterback in the playoffs. Is that a hot take?
No,
No. Okay. I mean,
that is an
yeah,
accurate
that's
take.
an accurate take. I mean, he's been the best football or the best quarterback in the college football playoffs, and he has thrown 2 picks. But I hate even saying 2 picks
That one
because
pick
that
don't
one
count.
versus
I was trash.
Tennessee that don't
Yeah.
count. That's trash. And the one versus Texas, but he was trying to force it, but like it was, I don't know. When I saw that happen and on the television, I was like, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Like he's trying to get JJ the ball. That was a great play by Texas. They have some NFL players. That stuff's gonna happen, especially if you really want to try to push the ball downfield. Like we can't just ask. We can't say we want Will Howard to get JJ involved in the game and him press the ball down the field. But then anytime he ever makes even a little bit of a mistake versus NFL talent, be like, oh, he sucks or that was horrible or whatever. You just kind of have to deal with the punches. You got to deal with the punches. And you just got to make sure the mistakes they're not able to capitalize on, which is what our defense is best at. Because
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame's literally gonna have to get. I mean, they're gonna have to score ugly. That's gonna have to be. They're gonna have to get their points really ugly, and they're gonna have to make some really great stops. So it's gonna have to look like the Michigan game over again, which is it could happen, but it's just super unlikely if you just look at the history of Ohio State football and the history of the national championship in a dome stadium.
I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up because that sparked some thoughts about the Penn State. I want to talk real quickly about the ND versus Georgia game, ND versus Penn State game. But first, we got Andy Joe Taylor in the chat. We got a celebrity in the chat. Listen, when y'all get a second, go to your social media. I'm sorry, not your social media, but your streaming services, your Spotify's, your iTunes, your Apple Music. She's a phenomenal artist, singer, performer. A part of the Buckeye Scoop family. I saw her in person live at Twin Peaks some months ago. She's phenomenal. Make sure you follow her and stream her music. All right. What up, Andy Joe? Appreciate you dropping in. But yeah, to Funky's point, listen, man. Shout out to my homie Dewan. I always shout him out. Y'all probably hear about him a lot, but he was in the chat. We were talking about the Georgia ND game, and I went back and watched it because I didn't really watch it that heavy when it was first on. And boy, I tell you, man, like Georgia was so stupid. They were so stupid and arrogant in that game. The play calling they did in that game was just, I mean, they literally handed the game to ND on a platter, in my opinion. I was just disgusted. If I was a Georgia fan, I would be so disgusted by that game and what they were doing. First of all, you're already behind the 8 ball with your backup quarterback. I mean, he's just not very good, number one. Number two, your O-line, especially your left tackle, was getting absolutely murdered. But yet you keep arrogantly trying to just drop back pass with no chip, no tight end over there, nothing. And then what happens? It was 3-3 right before the half, strip sack, ND scores. They go up 10-3. And then boom, after the half, they get a kick return. I mean, like you handed them the game. All right. So Georgia, a little overrated, especially about their quarterback. They were super stupid. And it's like, ND, like, yeah, they feasted off of their stupidity. It's just mind-boggling. And then with Penn State, we watching that game. I was talking to my dude, big Penn State fan, Larry Takahashi. If you out there, what up, bro? We were talking, and I was telling him, I was like, I don't know how y'all lost this game. I don't know how Penn State lost that game. Penn State was the better team to me. Penn State is going to Penn State sometimes, though. I'm sure their fans are frustrated. But the two things that killed them, the interception at the end, and then there was another play that was really big and pivotal. That was a big game changer. But you got Drew Aller out there throwing lollipops up in the secondary when you need to protect the ball. You could have went down with the game-winning drive, and you threw it right to him. So not only that, y'all, not only that, Notre Dame's offense, because you mentioned Notre Dame's offense, Funky. This is literally their offense. Their offense is try to run the ball, okay, obviously, which they have not. Joe Clapp brought out the stats. He said they averaged 3 points. You take away the 95-yard run they had against Indiana, which is not typical. That's not something you're going to see every day. They averaged 3.3 yards per carry. Okay, watching them run, watching Love and what their run game was not impressive. It's not scary to me at all. Their offense is try to run the ball with Love, throw the ball to the flats, right? Try to hit the tight end and the occasional 50-50 ball. That's with Riley Leonard picking up scrambles on third and short. That is literally their offense. So obviously the battle is we need to be physical up front, obviously. and not allow Riley Leonard to kill us with his legs. Our DBs, Igbenogson, he's been much better in the playoffs, but they're going to test him. They're going to throw it up on the sideline, down the sideline, and hope they can get a 50-50 ball or a flag. That's what they're going to try to do. So our DBs have to be disciplined. They got to play well. Our front seven has to be physical, stout, get pressure, stuff the run, and not allow Riley Leonard to just run and go crazy and just pick up 3rd and 2 after 3rd and 2 after 3rd and 2. We need to keep them, make them live in 3rd and long. If we stop the run, it is a certified wrap. Do y'all hear me? If we stop their run game, including Riley Leonard picking up goofy little scrambles where how the heck did he pick up the first down and cartwheeling over people? We can't have that. Somebody in the chat said they need to hit him. Yes, we need to hit him in the mouth hard. And I think he's a great guy. God bless you, Riley Leonard. But I'm sorry, bro. We got to get you. That's their offense. I don't know how they're going to get points outside of us being undisciplined and silly. Like Funky said, like I just don't see it. So we have to be disciplined because they eat off of our mistakes and penalties and all that other stuff. We have to play a good, clean game. And if we do, and we execute, this is going to be a bloodbath, y'all. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Some of y'all don't want to hear that. Don't jinx it. No, I'm just telling you what I see. I can't lie to you. But this is college football. And so we have to go out there and play and do what we need to do, man, or it will be a close game. It's all up to us. Period. It's up to these coaches for a good game plan and for the players to execute it. If we go out there and do that, it might be over at halftime. I'm just telling y'all. But if we don't, it might be a 4-quarter game. We're going to see.
Yeah, B. Moses, I want you to pin I'll say Mark, his last name's F. Or I want you to pin his thing, right? Or do you see
Mark
it?
F. I'm looking.
It's hard for Penn State to win with 0 wide receiver catches.
Yes. Let me look. Oh, is it? No. I'm still looking. But yeah, to your point.
It was just recent. But yeah, just to bring that up, Penn State had 0 catches by the wide receiver all game.
Thank you for bringing that up. I completely forgot about that. Oh my goodness.
0. What the heck? Like the difference in the game isn't that much. It's just not. It's not different. It's not that different. Like the difference, they literally could have won that game easily if Drew Allar just doesn't act like an absolute idiot and does his little thing at the end or whatever. They could have. There's a million opportunities where they could have won that game, and the wide receivers didn't catch it once. So that's saying if you take out Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, and J.J. Smith, then Ohio State comes that close within beating Notre Dame. Like, does that seem ridiculous? You take out our 3 best players in offense. That's what Penn State just did. So that stat, I almost forgot about that a little bit because the one thing I want to bring up was this notion that Notre Dame has been dominating the offensive line, defensive line versus Georgia. They didn't dominate anything versus Georgia. I hate that notion. It's when you get pretty much 2 free touchdowns. They pretty much just got 2 free touchdowns handed to them by Georgia's stupidity. You're going to win the rushing battle because you're going to be up 2 touchdowns. And we're all football fans. What do you do when you're up 2 touchdowns in the second half? You run the damn football. Yep. You run the football, B. Moses. And what does the other team do? They don't run the football. They drop back. They try to get wide receivers open. And when everyone knows you're going to pass the ball, it's way easier to get home and sack the quarterback. It just is. They talk about it all the time. You can't get into 3rd and long versus dominant edges or really any pass rushing edges because when they're able just to know exactly what you're doing and they know exactly where they need to go, it's hard to do anything. When you have a Dual Carter or JT or Jack Sawyer or any of these guys, that's just an impossible task for an offensive line and an offense to do. So of course they're going to have more rushing yards and they're going to stop Georgia from having rushing yards. It's like that notion when they're like, to beat Michigan or win the big game, you have to win the rushing battle. No, you don't have to win the rushing battle. You have to score more points than them. That's the reality. Just usually the team that rushes more is winning for longer, so they rush the ball more. That's just how football works. And I don't really understand how people don't fully understand that. But, man, I just feel confident. Because you're right. I just don't see I don't know how Notre Dame's going to score. I just genuinely it's going to have to be exactly what you said, 50-50 balls and all that stuff. And when I just go through, because what Urban Meyer said this before the Rose Bowl, and it really stuck with me. The reason why Ohio State struggled versus Oregon the first time was our wide receivers, our cornerbacks, haven't seen any wide receivers like Oregon's pretty much all year. Because during practice, you don't really go all out. And so when you're just coming off a game versus Marshall and whatever, Iowa and whoever the heck we were playing, Michigan State, it's a lot easy to get more comfortable. And just when you go, you get thrown in there at Oregon in this loud stadium, and these wide receivers are like just freaking juice. And it's a hard adjustment because you almost freeze for a second, and you freeze for a half second, and all of a sudden 50-yard touchdown. It happens like that. So now we can look at what wide receivers we played so far. We played 2 wide receivers, NFL wide receivers versus Texas. And I mean, one of the best ones in the nation, in Tez Johnson versus Oregon, and Evan Stewart will probably be an NFL, or he will be an NFL guy. Who knows how late or how early. And Oregon has an NFL tight end and NFL offensive tackles. So in Ohio State, I mean, they handle them with ease. So while Notre Dame, on the other hand, had to play against Penn State's mighty weapons, who got 0 catches, and Georgia's mighty weapons, offensively wide receivers, who couldn't catch the dang ball. So who's really in the better position right here, B. Moses? That's what I'm thinking. So.
I mean, and real quick, I'm laughing at Jay Stu. Yes, I Jimmy rigged my jersey. Look, y'all, I put this is not a 2025 jersey. This is another year. So I put a 5 sticker on there. Oh, I'm sorry, other side. It's hilarious, right? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but yeah, I mean, look, I know, again, that it's the mental battle of a fan to say, man, we talking too big, we too confident, but it's hard to ignore, man. And really, this team, first of all, did anybody read the Jack Sawyer letter? If you have not read the Jack Sawyer letter on the the Players Tribune, make sure you read the Jack Sawyer letter. It's incredible. He just gives insight into how he grew up a Buckeye fan, and kind of from like going from there till now, and after the Michigan game, and how they had the notorious meeting with Day and the players. And I mean, it'll get you fired up. It'll get you pumped up. But it kind of reiterates the focus and the passion. And the one more, what we're not finished yet, one more than forever, as you see in the title. This team, I just refuse to believe. And Ryan Day he's been the intensity and fire and just so locked in. I mean, he's just dripping with locked in. And so I just refuse to believe this team is going to go out there and just lay an egg and just play bad and just not be focused and overlook Notre Dame, because that's the only way they can lose, in my opinion, is if they go in there. Because some Notre Dame fans tried to compare this to, well, we're Ohio State 2002 and Ohio State is Miami. No, we're not. They were coming off of 34 straight wins in a NATTY. The previous year, they had flyers being passed around for their victory celebration and their party the next day or the night of. Like, this is not the same animal. These guys know they have not met any of their goals. This is the biggest one of their goals that's still on the table for the taking. And you think they're going to just overlook Notre Dame? No, it's not going to happen. Go ahead, Funk.
You're spot on there, B. Moses. You're absolutely spot on there. And the season really changed. This might be a hot take. I don't know if we win the Natty if we don't lose to Michigan. I don't know. I don't know if we're in the same spot. I just don't. It's just different when your team sees blood and they realize what could happen. They change their mindset, and there's been a clear switch in mindset from that game to what we've seen. They turn into a juggernaut. And I know people hate saying that because yesterday, Kirk and Nevada went on the pod and they talked about how they'd rather be 13-2 in this position than 15-0. And people were like, "Oh, you're crazy." I mean, I agree to an extent. What they meant by that is this team has seen blood. They're not sitting there with champagne in their locker rooms before the game and all this stuff. They know what's at stake. And they know what they need to do. They're not celebrating already. They know everything's in front of them. Okay, if they lose this game, guess what? They'll never be invited back to the Woody. They'll be forgotten. The Jack Sawyer play will go down as like, well, whatever. You can think of all these great plays that Ohio State players have made in these big bowl games that you just don't remember anymore. I'm thinking whatever the or even Chase Young. Like Chase Young does not get the respect he deserves because we didn't win the Natty. We didn't even go to the Natty with Chase Young from. Yeah, we didn't even go to the Natty with Chase Young. So that's a reason why he's not like immortalized in Ohio State history. We don't look back at him like some Greek god that he was. It's because we didn't win the Natty. And it's because that Clemson game. So these boys know what they're playing for, and they've seen blood, and they're ready to go after it. And the season changed not just at that Michigan game, not just at the result after the Michigan game, but at the first reported by Buckeye Scoop players in Ryan Day meeting, which now is just starting getting released by whatever. I forget who released it, someone on Yahoo. But
Lots
as
of outlets now. They
as
all
yeah,
said that.
lots all they did. They said it didn't never happened, but now all of a sudden they all report it about whatever. What's they over a month late? So what do they say? A day short, a penny late, whatever that saying is. B Moses, I probably butchered it, but it's just or yeah, we had that first. Nevada, in my opinion, nailed it. If you just hear what Jack says, and compared to what was reported on December 3rd, literally like it was hours after the meeting. If you look at the timestamps, it was like where, or maybe like it was 12 hours after the meeting, which is absolutely insane. That just shows how well sourced up Nevada, Kirk, and the whole crew at Buckeye Scoop are, and why we're the best in the business. B Moses, but the Flauner Flowers real quick. But I mean that was the real changing point in the whole entire season, and it's just, I mean, it's surreal because it takes moments like that, and you wouldn't have moments like that in years past. That's the thing. That there wouldn't be a players meeting after losing to Michigan. No, these players would be packing their bags and saying, "Peace out. I'll see you in the NFL. Bye bye. I'll see you in the NFL." But now they got to regroup and they got to play more football, and that, I mean, that is something that is you can't take for granted. Playing just one extra game, just that's what we try to say for weeks. Even after the Michigan game, we said the goal's kind of the same. We talked about it. We said you got to win 4 games. Got to win 4 games, and we won the first game, won the second game, won the third game, and now we're in the fourth game. If we win this fourth game, everyone's happy, and it's the world is round again, and the trees are green. We can celebrate for whatever, forever, how long. But if we lose, it's just going to turn out like every other Ohio State team in my lifetime that didn't win the Natty. It's where you kind of forget about them after a few years, and it's they don't get invited back. You don't hear about them much, and it's all about who could win the Natty next. So, and if these boys win the Natty, guess what? They're going to have a 10-year reunion. They'll have a 20-year reunion. They'll have a 30-year reunion, and they'll keep showing up until they all die. Because that's what we do at Ohio State. We celebrate our champions. We celebrate our champions, and they should be celebrated. And I hope we get to celebrate them tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just funny you said, and then they die. Like,
It's true. Yeah.
But no, all jokes aside, you're correct. And so I just want to touch on something real quick regarding all of that, because listen, I know it doesn't matter ultimately, but we're going to deal with it if we win this game. Well, actually, we're already dealing with it now, even before the game has even been kicked off. But you got haters, especially scum fans, trying to take a hot dookie on what they see coming, trying to negate and disqualify and dismiss, if we win this Natty, because we had 2 losses. Listen, this is literally like an NFL light type situation now. This is an NFL model, 16 to 17 games that teams can play. And, with 2 losses by a margin of 4 points. Now, obviously, we don't want to lose to our rival at all. We get that. It sucks. We hate it. However, I don't know about y'all, but Natty's the number one thing. That's always been a number one thing on my list. I want to address something that scum fans keep sharing while I'm thinking about it. They keep trotting out 2 things. One, they're trotting out this so-called poll in the Columbus Dispatch from a certain amount of fans, not all of Buckeye Nation, obviously, but a certain amount of fans that seem to have picked the Michigan game as being the most important thing over a Natty. So let me address that. First of all, I don't know how many people that were polled, but I've never been that way. And I'm team hate Michigan the most. And so it's always been Natty first for me. Now, here's where I think there needs to be context given. The people who did answer that, this is my thinking. Remember, back in the olden days, before things really transitioned into the playoffs, that you had to beat the team up north to even be considered for a natty, right, Funky? That was the
Exactly, yeah.
open door. So I think when you're doing these polls, you have Buckeye fans who are still stuck in a mindset of, you gotta beat Michigan, you gotta win your conference, and then you go to the Rose Bowl, and then they can vote you as the national champion. Like, that is not what we're dealing with now. You feel me? So the mindset, we're right in the thick of transitioning into a completely different thing. So now, as we experience this real time, and if we can get this natty tomorrow, I guarantee you people will have a better understanding of how to answer that question, or their approach will be different because they understand it's different. Here's the other thing people are these scum fans keep trying to trot out, is this quote from Woody Hayes talking about not winning your conference. You don't deserve to be national champion. Okay, sure. Let's pull out a quote from Woody Hayes from the 70s, as if it's actually relevant to what's going on in college football today. It's a completely different college football today. Like, stop it.
Well,
Y'all trying. Go ahead,
so
Funk, and I'm going to jump back in.
Woody Hayes says you shouldn't pay players. So why is Ohio State playing players, B. Moses?
Exactly.
Why are we paying players? You can't play players. That's cheating. That's cheating.
Please stop it. It's just stupid. And of course, I'm just saying this because I know we're all dealing with it. I know at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but it's still annoying. And I'm just addressing it. I'm just pushing back against it with just facts and logic, because it's dumb. And they're trying their best to grasp at straws, to basically diminish what they see coming down the pike. But the bottom line is this: with the 2 losses by a margin of 4 points total, you look at the overall resume. If we win this game against Notre Dame, look at the run. Tennessee, top 10 team. Oregon, number 1 in the country. Texas, what were they, number 3 or number 2? And then Notre Dame, number 3. There has never been a run like that in college football history of back-to-back top 10 wins like that. Ever. Okay? So, again, you look at the context of the new NFL model that we're in. Yeah, you got the 2 losses, but it's in a new NFL model playing 16 games. And so are we going to, they lost 2 games, so they're not a good champion? No, look at who they beat that entire season. And so it's just, it's going back to like the Steelers. I'm a Browns fan, losing to a bad Browns team, but then they go on to win a Super Bowl. Okay, like, what are you going to look at? You going to emphasize that loss to the Browns, or are you going to emphasize that Super Bowl? Yes, we don't want to lose to our rival, and we're going to hate that we ever lose to them. But my energy and my emphasis will be on that trophy and the rings and trophies that were gathered and collected leading up to the big trophy. That's how I think as a fan. That's how you should think. And scum fans are so upset. They're trying their hardest to get us to care about us. But no, sorry, buddy. If our guys go out and handle business tomorrow and get this natty, that is going to be the emphasis, the number one thing. And there will be no other run up to this point of winning against teams like this in the playoffs ever, and you got to deal with it. Go ahead, brother.
There's 2 things I'll say. First is, obviously that poll's misleading, because there's never been a national title where you can lose to Michigan and win the national title in the same year. It just hasn't happened. So of course, if you ask all these fans, even if you ask me at the beginning of the year, what's more important, winning the national title or beating Michigan? Even I would say, even at the beginning of this year, I'd be like, well, how are we going to win the national title if we don't beat Michigan? So let's beat Michigan. That's kind of what my original thinking would be at the beginning of the year. But clearly that's wrong, because we lost to Michigan, and we're probably going to, we're odds-on favorite, 85% chance according to the odds to win the national title. So that's just the new reality, and we're all going to have to get used to it. And you would think, you know who really knows that the regular season doesn't mean much anymore, and it's all about winning this the big trip now? You know who really knows it right now, B. Moses? One guess.
I don't know. Ohio State.
The Detroit Lions. And all those Michigan scum fans, sorry, Michigan State fans too, but really you really learned yesterday, man, does it feel good to be dominant in the regular season? No, it doesn't if you don't win at all. Washington didn't care that you went 15-2 or whatever the heck it was. They don't care. But let's say it again. They didn't care. They beat you in your home field. no one's going to remember the Detroit Lions for having whatever 15 wins in the thing. No, they're calling for Mike. They're calling for the coach's head. They're calling for Ben. They think Ben Johnson, who's going to be, in my opinion, a successful NFL head coach. They're calling him a bum. They're calling him a fraud. They're doing all the lunatic stuff that every single fan base does if their team doesn't win the championship. So it's the NFL now. That's what people have to realize. And my second point will be is like I think this is the most deserving national champion of all time. I would argue that with pretty much versus any team ever, because there's no team ever that people are like, oh, it's the 6th seed or it's technically the 8th seed versus 7th seed, but I'll say it's the 6th best team versus the 5th best team in the Natty. Who wants to watch this? And I was like, wait, but the 6th seed beat the 1 and 3 seeds, and then the 5 seed beat the 2 and 4 seed. Or the 4 rankings. So I'm like, wow, that's like clearly it's the 2 best teams. If the 2 teams beat everybody ranked ahead of them in the playoff format on a neutral site for every single one of those games. So I think it's the 2 most deserving teams in the championship. And if anyone wants to if anyone wants to bet, I think we win the game, but if Notre Dame wins the game, then you won't hear a peep from me. I think they'll be a legitimate national champion, and I'll say they're the best team. I will. I'll say that.
Sure.
I'll be a man and say it, because we haven't been able to declare a true national champion in 2 years now, or about 2 years now. Or no, over 2 years now. Yeah. There hasn't been a true national champion that doesn't have a big fat asterisk next to it that hasn't done it the right way in 2 years now. So
And
can't wait to get
asterisk, speaking of big fat asterisk, Michigan scum fans, the NCAA is still out there. They're still lurking. They're still coming. They're still right behind you with that sledgehammer, just waiting to crack that skull. So y'all keep talking about illegitimate. It's still coming down the pike, and I'm here for it. So but like Troop Dog said, they're jealous and they're trying to be relevant and all that other stuff, but when I got a mic in my face, I'm gonna hit them. I'm gonna jab them. I'm gonna hit them with facts, and I'm gonna put that out there because again, I know we all deal with it, and it's just something to kind of expose the stupidity, and all that. So so anyway, but yeah, I mean, and as we kind of cycle down to a close soon, listen, we've been like, I know this season has been a wild ride. And what have we consistently been doing, me and Funky? We've been like imploring y'all, please enjoy this. Because here's what we're not saying. We're excited about the game. Tomorrow, is a big day. But guess what? Win or lose, college football is over for the year. It's over for the season. The season's over. And so those of us who love this sport, we're saying goodbye to college football after tomorrow evening. So I'm hoping y'all took our advice and really just even with the losses, even with the frustrations, and just enjoy this, y'all. I hope y'all been enjoying this, and I hope y'all all enjoy tomorrow, man, because I believe our boys and our coaches are going to go out there and handle business. I believe that they are going to go out there and take what is theirs. I'm confident that these guys are not going to allow this journey to be taken away or spoiled by this Notre Dame team. I just don't see it. If I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. It is what it is. But I refuse to believe that. And I believe we're going to be national champs, not because Notre Dame's not a deserving opponent, not because I'm cocky or overconfident or whatever. I just believe and trust in these guys to handle business. Period. That's just how I feel. That is my stance on tomorrow's game. And so I'm still going to be nervous. I'm going to go get some Roosters wings in honor of Captain Jack Sawyer. I haven't got any Roosters in a few weeks. And that's going to be my pre-game meal tomorrow is Roosters. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm fired up. And yeah, man, I can't wait to celebrate with y'all after our guys handle business. Because I believe they will. I believe they're going to do what they need to do, man. And so they deserve it, man. But anyway, go ahead, Funk.
I'll do my final words, B. Moses. Is that we're doing final speeches right now? Kind of pre-game speeches?
Yeah.
Hey, we've been here for since August. It's been, wow. I mean, what a ride. What a roller coaster. not exactly how I expected, because if you would go back to my preseason expectations, I said we'd have one loss all season, and that would be at Oregon, and then we run the table the rest of the way and win the Natty. Clearly, there's a big, massive bump in the road there. But hey, at the end of the day, the goal's the same. Doesn't sometimes your teachers say, "Hey, we don't really care how you do this math equation, as long as you get the right answer. That's all I care about." And dang, that's all I care about too. So I'm gonna be at the game tomorrow, and of course that means I'll lose my voice completely. It'll probably be gone at halftime. But hey, we're gonna reload and be ready for the second half, and um, I'm gonna give it all for my Buckeyes tomorrow because that's all I can do as a fan, and I'm just super proud of everyone. And this is the last time we're going to get to watch these seniors play football. These Ohio State team, we're going to have 15 plus draft picks in this year's NFL draft. And that's great and all, but it's also really sad at the same time. So tomorrow, just appreciate all the senior leadership we have on the field, because there's no one in the world. If you think you want this win, then you don't even compare to how much these guys or how much Ryan Day wants this win. We all want this win. Those guys playing out there want it 10 times more than we do, because they have to fight off the backlash that they do the whole for the last pretty much for 4 years, even more than that. It's been pretty much 10 years. So these guys are doing something that not many teams in Buckeye history have got the opportunity to do. So they really, really have they want it, and they're going to be fired up, and they want to get this done so badly. And I'm just sitting here very grateful that this is our first season of this podcast with B Moses, and it's been a great season. We went, or I try to go as many Sundays as I can. I know I had some issues, but thanks to B Moses for picking up where I couldn't be there. But every show has been a blast. Very, very grateful for everyone who's been tuning in to watch the things. Y'all are the real MVPs. And even though college football season may end tomorrow, we'll still be on the podcast Sunday. So we'll either be here national champs on the podcast or national runner-ups on the podcast. So let's all hope for the national champs. But hey, we ain't gonna run. We'll be here next Sunday, and we hope you guys will be here with us too. But we know it's not the same for the post the part of the what's in when you're not in season, where the not in season shows, postseason shows. But man, it'll still be fun, and we'll have a blast. And there's a bunch of portal news will happen, and starting jobs, and the winners of winter camp. So, and hey, I got some nuggets I want to drop on you guys after the season, but I want to save them for after the season because I don't want to distract from anything that's happening right now. So I can't wait for the Buckeyes last ride tomorrow. And again, I will not have a voice tomorrow, but hopefully I'll have some killer dance moves in Tuesday. So
yes, and we'll go a few more minutes as we close out, man. And but yes, Funky's right. Ryan Day's beard. There's your answer. Yes, we are going to still go every Sunday, y'all. I mean, really, with college football, especially Buckeye football. I mean, off season, there's still stuff to talk about. If we win this Natty, we're going to ride on the strength of that for some weeks. You feel me? We're going to have a party every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to ride off the strength of that. Like you said, transfer portal, recruiting, spring ball coming up. I mean, just news. You know what I'm saying? We go. There's always something to talk about. So yes, the show will continue, but obviously in season is different from off season. So it's a different vibe, but it's still going to be fun and still going to be good. So definitely count on that. But yeah, I saw another comment. Yeah, I might play the joint on the way out. Troop Dog, my song. You know what time it is. And speaking of that, if we can get this dub, I'm gonna tell y'all again, I'm shooting the video. That's another big thing. It's just like, man, Lord, please let us win, because I've been wanting to shoot this video, for some weeks. So that's another hope of mine. You got Funky's dance, you got the what time it is video, and just a lot that can just flow from this win. So you know what I'm saying? It's some different things riding on this for sure. But what else I was going to say? There was something else. Oh yeah. Reminder, Buckeye Boys with a Z at the end. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. They go live every Sunday at 5 p.m.
I have one more thing, BMOs, after that. Sorry, continue. Sorry, I cut you off.
Okay, yeah. We're not done yet. We're gonna maybe 2 or 3 more minutes. So yeah, you got time. Make sure you subscribe. They're down in Atlanta right now, kicking it. I think they went live earlier. They've had great guests, recruits, parents, recruits. ex-players. They do an excellent job. Shout out to Devin Mello and Sean Schrock and all the boys over there. So yeah, they wanted to let y'all know about that. Go ahead, Funk.
We talk about Dagestan Poppy a lot. He's a mastermind. He was like it was like 35% ROI in the year of 2024, all tracked and all posted, by the way. So no fake BS, all tracked, all posted. He started a YouTube channel. He goes live. He talks about the bets he's going to place. And if you listen, you can get on the bets a little earlier than most people and maybe make some little more money. So he's on YouTube right now. He made a YouTube channel recently. He goes live every now and then. I'm not really sure what his schedule will be, but just give him a subscribe and tell him our Buckeye Scoop sent you. I know he appreciates it, and he loves his Buckeye Scoop family. He's a big Buckeye fan, so and he makes you damn good money if you follow all his bets. So if you're into that stuff, go follow him on YouTube. It's called Dagestan Poppy. It's if you just want free money, it's pretty much as safe as betting you can do. Sports betting is generally not that safe, but when you do it with Dagestan Poppy, it's almost guaranteed money.
Yeah, I heard he's great. I know Nevada and Kirk love him. And if Nevada recommend him, he's good. And then a Funky, who's also a Vegas savant in my mind, he's good. But score prediction, I'm gonna go with 34-16. I think we give up one touchdown and a few field goals, and some of those will come in, come late. I think we jump out on them a little bit. I can see something like a 14-3, and then, kind of just going from there. That's my score prediction. You got a prediction, Funky?
Yeah, I think we win 24-13 or 24-10, something around that.
Got you. And then somebody left a comment earlier. I want to help you out, brother. I don't know if you just started watching, but you said something about being nervous, and you wanted me, or wanted us to try to, like, I guess, help you not be. Oh, there it is. Raiden, diehard OSU fan. Maybe it's because I was at the Michigan game, but I don't feel great about tomorrow, and I'm going. Someone put me back in a positive view here. I'm assuming you just started watching, maybe, because if you didn't, if you started from the very beginning, then I failed. Because I was trying to bring some perspective to be more confident and to kind of calm nerves. But if you did already watch that, then I don't know what else to say. But if you just started, you should have some good positive rants coming if you're behind on the video. But listen, man, we got this. Our guys want this. They've worked hard for this. They're not going to overlook them. That Texas game was a tough game, and it's easier to correct and really bounce back and play better coming off of a tough game. And so I'm confident in our coaches and our players. And so at the end of the day, they got to go out and play the game. What's going to happen is going to happen. But I feel you, but I'm confident our guys will handle business.
If it makes you feel better, Raiden, me and B. Moses were both at the Michigan game. So we get how you feel. Trust me, we do. We do. And everyone here gets how you feel if they watched it in person or there. But me and B. Moses were in that game. We both had to walk out in that freezing cold. So, and hey, I'll be there at the game tomorrow. So, hey, Buckeye Nations, we all feel you. We'd be lying if we didn't have those nerves. So we all do have a little bit of nerves, but hey, be a little confident. Let's be confident tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, be confident, man, and just trust in our coaches and players to handle business. That's really what it boils down to. I think they've earned that, and I think they're going to prove that tomorrow. And, yep, I'll go ahead and play the joint. I'll play the song on the way out. And, until next Sunday, y'all, until next Sunday, unless we go live in between time, we're going to see y'all next Sunday. All right?
Let's go Buckeyes.
Yes, sir. I'm about to cue this up.
Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it. Number one flaws, you don't know ball. We taking advantage of that. Got you Karens asking where the manager at. With no cap, no time for the amateur rap. Look, man, we got dogs all over the depth chart. Monsters on the roster. Straighten up that posture. Rooting out you imposters. Silver bullets in the chamber. And a D-line full of danger. Step back with that linebacker trigger, when he pull it, it'll bang ya. Running backs running downhill. Touchdown on your IG reel. Better check the stats, buddy, it's straight facts over how you feel. Whenever I speak, I'm giving you more balls than German Village, Short North, and High Street. And you know, the average Joe can do nothing with my flow. It's a waste. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
I told y'all before, I need to feel y'all's energy. Stop sitting on y'all hands and get this place lit. Like I said, bring the energy.
Yeah, you know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. You know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the